The world whispers promises of calm seas, of smooth sailing, of a life free from turbulence. It paints vivid pictures of uninterrupted progress, of joy unmarred by sorrow, of effortless existence. We are inundated with narratives that suggest a passive avoidance of difficulty is enough, that simply steering clear of rough waters will ensure a peaceful voyage. But look closer. Observe the trajectories of those who genuinely transform their lives, who navigate unimaginable gales, who emerge from the darkest storms not merely intact, but stronger, wiser, and more profound. Their ascent is rarely marked by unblemished skies or tranquil waters. It is forged in a crucible far more potent, a forge often misunderstood, frequently dismissed, and tragically almost universally underestimated. The principles of emotional resilience. This isn't merely about bouncing back. It's a profound declaration of inner fortitude, a soul-awakening journey into the depths of your own unbreakable spirit and the unwavering trajectory of strength through adversity. Look around, and you will see the evidence of its absence everywhere. The brilliant dreams that shatter under the slightest pressure, the ambitious plans that dissolve at the first sign of opposition, the fervent hopes that dissipate into the ether, leaving behind only the bitter taste of despair. We live in an age where information abounds, where every conceivable method for comfort is readily available, yet the vast majority of humanity remains perpetually anchored, bound by chains of their own mental making, unable to bridge the gap between knowing adversity will come and truly being prepared to weather its storms. This isn't merely a character flaw. It's a systematic weakening of the inner core, a pervasive cultural hypnosis that prioritizes superficial positivity over deep-seated, intentional, emotional fortitude. The titans who shaped our world, the Abraham Lincolns who navigated the tempest of civil war, the Viktor Frankls who found meaning amidst unimaginable suffering, the Marie Curies who pursued discovery through relentless personal tragedy, did not possess a secret shortcut to a life without hardship. They possessed an unyielding, almost audacious belief in their own capacity to endure, to adapt, and to find purpose, even within the heart of the storm. They understood intimately that the external world bends not to fleeting wishes for ease, but to an unwavering, persistent emotional resilience, supercharged by a definiteness of purpose. What you consistently hold in your mind, with burning conviction and relentless certainty, when faced with life's inevitable gales, eventually begins to solidify as an unshakable inner calm and an unyielding capacity to not just survive, but to thrive. This is not magic. This is the law of mental and emotional self-mastery, a principle as immutable as gravity itself, a force waiting for you to wield it. This journey into the core of emotional resilience begins with a fundamental re-engineering of your mindset. For too long, the idea of toughness has been treated as a static declaration, a passive acceptance of hardship, or a superficial layer of stoicism applied to an underlying current of fear. The mind in this state becomes a hollow vessel, easily swayed by external circumstances, viewing every challenge as a confirmation of its limitations rather than a test of its resolve. But what if you could fundamentally alter your relationship with your own pain, your own setbacks, not by denying the existence of suffering, but by understanding your true nature as an alchemist of adversity, capable of transmuting lead into gold? This isn't a call for naive optimism or a dismissal of legitimate struggle, but a profound recognition that the cultivation of an emotionally resilient mindset is an act of intellectual and spiritual liberation from the tyranny of victimhood. When your mind is shackled by past wounds, by perceived misfortunes, or by the narrow confines of what is realistic in the face of despair, it becomes incapable of conceiving, let alone manifesting, the audacious inner strength necessary for true transformation. Imagine a ship forever anchored in a harbor, paralyzed by the fear of rough seas, forever striving for external perfect conditions, forever doubting its capacity to sail. The voyage is never undertaken. Your greatest triumph is the life you navigate with your inner strength, and a fear-driven mindset is the paralysis that binds your hand. The choice is not whether storms will arise, but how you allow yourself to be freed by their inevitability, transforming their presence into a powerful catalyst for internal fortitude. This mindset reorients your entire relationship with possibility, transforming dread of the unknown into fascination with the forging process and anxiety of failure into determination to rebuild. It allows you to approach every difficult experience, not with a sense of inadequacy, but with the quiet power of a survivor ready to endure, a healer ready to mend, a thriver ready to manifest, knowing that true greatness is born from daring to stand firm when others deem it impossible. From this recalibrated mindset flows an unshakable belief system in your capacity to endure and overcome. The world, in its often superficial comfort, cultivates the belief that certain adversities are crushing, immutable, or simply too large to transcend without extraordinary external aid. It whispers that your pain is unique, your burdens too heavy, or your situation too desperate, subtly eroding your conviction that sustained, intentional, emotional resilience is even possible for you. This belief system is a psychological prison, preventing you from recognizing your inherent strength, from claiming your rightful place among the world's overcomers, and from truly unleashing the unique fortitude that resides within you. It fosters a fixed mindset, where perceived difficulties in coping are seen as terminal condemnations rather than vital invitations to higher-level self-mastery. Consider the profound example of Viktor Frankl, who endured the unspeakable horrors of Nazi concentration camps during World War II. He faced starvation, torture, the loss of his entire family, and the constant threat of death. By any measure, his situation was one of ultimate adversity. Yet, in that crucible of suffering, he cultivated an unshakable belief that even in the most dehumanizing circumstances, he retained the freedom to choose his attitude and find meaning. He didn't believe that his external conditions dictated his internal state. He saw them as a test of his deepest convictions. He found purpose in helping others, in observing human nature, and in holding on to the image of his loved ones. If he had believed that emotional resilience was only for the privileged or the physically powerful, his spirit would have been utterly crushed, and the world would have lost his profound insights on meaning. His genius wasn't in escaping suffering. It was in his audacious belief in the human capacity to transcend suffering by choosing a meaning, in the inherent value of his spirit, independent of external circumstances, and in his own capacity to learn from every agonizing moment, however bleak. This belief is not granted. It is earned by understanding that your inherent value is independent of external circumstances, that setbacks are merely catalysts for spiritual refinement, and that true growth comes from embracing the messy reality of persistent internal conviction. It's the quiet, knowing that you are capable of handling whatever emotional storm life throws at you, not because you're invincible, but because you've proven to yourself through countless imagined triumphs over adversity and tangible efforts to cope, that you possess an indomitable spirit of endurance. This belief becomes your internal compass, guiding you through the darkest storms of despair, always pointing towards the tangible peace and strength you are destined to achieve. This unshakable belief system, forged in the crucible of inner conviction, directly illuminates your clarity of purpose in the face of adversity. The world, with its incessant noise of blame and victimhood, thrives in the fog of indecision and ambiguity when tragedy strikes. It prefers a landscape shrouded in emotional chaos, where every setback seems equally crushing, and every path forward feels fraught with potential pain. But when you actively cultivate the practice of unwavering, intentional, emotional resilience, your objectives 7 in crisis become crystal clear. The path forward, however challenging, reveals itself with undeniable precision, for you have already walked it in your mind's eye, with the light of your true intention to not merely survive, but to learn, to grow, to serve. This isn't about having all the answers at once during a crisis, but about possessing the mental fortitude to cut through the emotional noise, to discern your core values, and to commit to a specific direction of healing and rebuilding with unwavering focus, because you have already engaged the creative part of your mind in problem solving and seen the desired state of peace or growth. Think of Abraham Lincoln, navigating the tempest of the American Civil War, facing unimaginable pressures, constant opposition, and profound personal loss, including the death of his beloved son. The problem was fragmentation, division, the very dissolution of a nation. His external path was fraught with uncertainty, yet his clarity of purpose to preserve the Union and eventually abolish slavery never wavered. This unwavering clarity, even in the face of immense chaos, ambiguity, and personal grief, was underpinned by a profound focus on the solution of unity and freedom, rather than merely the problem of conflict and despair. This clarity directly fueled his almost superhuman persistence in the face of political attacks, military setbacks, and personal tragedies. It allowed him to make monumental decisions that shaped the course of a nation. If he had been paralyzed by the need for perfect foresight, endlessly analyzing the problems without committing to the disciplined steps required for their resolution, consumed by his personal sorrows without a larger purpose, the very fabric of America might have disintegrated. Your clarity, when corrupted by external distractions or inner doubt during difficult times, becomes a blur, binding you to the illusion that every potential pitfall must be anticipated before any significant progress can be made. It strips away opportunities not by avoidance, but by paralysis, keeping your energy from the actions that will truly move you forward, trapping you in the debilitating endless loop of imagined obstacles. The truth is, the more clearly you define your intentionally believed path through adversity, the less power external distractions and internal turmoil have to obscure your vision, leading you towards the breakthrough of resilience you deserve. This newfound clarity then amplifies your vision of recovery and strength. A mind that does not actively cultivate and define its beliefs during hardship, that does not paint vivid mental pictures of a desired future state beyond the current suffering, is a mind that shrinks its capacity for healing, reduces its scope for growth, and forces itself to play small. It whispers that your pain is too grand, your recovery too arduous, and your potential for happiness too limited. But when clarity, fueled by consistent, intentional belief, cuts through the fog of despair, your vision expands exponentially. It becomes a vivid, compelling future state, so real, so compelling, that the difficulties of the present pale in comparison. This isn't about mere wishful thinking or denial of pain. It's about the courageous act of defining a future so potent, so inspiring, that it pulls you forward through every obstacle, every setback, and every moment of doubt, because you have already made that magnificent achievement, that return to peace, that breakthrough in understanding, that blossoming of new strength and inner reality. Think of Frida Kahlo, whose life was marked by immense physical pain and emotional suffering from a childhood illness and a devastating bus accident. Her body was broken, her relationships tumultuous, yet her vision for artistic expression, for translating her unique experience into vibrant, unapologetic art, was so powerful and so vividly held in her mind that it drove her through countless surgeries, periods of immobilization, and profound heartache. This unwavering vision, rooted in her profound belief in the validity of her own experience and her purpose as an artista solution to her inner turmoil. Through creative output was the fuel for her intense self-discipline in creating masterpieces from her bed. If she had been paralyzed by the inability to see a pain-free future, endlessly analyzing the problems of her body without committing to the disciplined pursuit of her artistic solution, her iconic works might never have existed. Your vision for emotional resilience, when shackled by the inability to internalize the consistent conviction required, becomes less about what you hope for and more about what you fear enduring. It becomes a static, untouchable ideal, incapable of bending, learning, and growing, ultimately leading to its demise. But a vividly imagined, intentionally believed future of strength and recovery is a living, breathing entity, constantly growing, adapting, and demanding courageous action, because it has already been brought to life in the most important laboratory of all, your mind. Now, this grand vision of recovery, ignited by intentional belief and refined by clarity, calls for unwavering discipline in the face of emotional storms. Discipline in this context is not a punishment for your feelings. It is the ultimate expression of self-care and self-mastery. It is the conscious choice to navigate emotional turbulence with intention, to process pain constructively, and to persist in practices that rebuild your inner strength even when it feels overwhelming. The average individual views emotional discipline as a suppression, a denial, a burden. The resilient individual recognizes it as the essential bridge between the chaos of a storm and the calm of its aftermath, between emotional wound and profound healing. Without discipline, the most heartfelt intentions to get over it remain theoretical, the most fervent beliefs in personal strength remain wishes, and the most definite visions of recovery remain unfulfilled. It is the daily, consistent application of self-compassion, of boundary setting, of seeking support, of engaging in practices that nourish your spirit, the small, seemingly insignificant choices that, compounded over time, create extraordinary inner strength and emotional stability. Look at the relentless self-discipline of someone recovering from addiction or profound loss. Their purpose is clear: to reclaim their life, to heal. Their belief in their own capability to do so is cultivated daily, often minute by minute. But it is their unwavering discipline, the attendance at meetings, the consistent therapy, the journaling, the setting of healthy boundaries, the daily commitment to sobriety or processing grief that separates them from those who relapse or succumb. They don't feel like doing the work every day. They do it because their purpose compels them and their belief assures them of the outcome. This is the difference between fleeting coping mechanisms and ingrained habits of resilience, between temporary relief and sustained emotional well-being. If they succumb to every passing craving, every temptation to avoid the pain, their recovery would remain a fantasy. Your emotional self-discipline, when weak, leaves you vulnerable to being overwhelmed by negative emotions, to destructive coping mechanisms, and to the siren call of comfort-seeking behaviors that only deepen the wound. It allows fleeting impulses to derail your grandest ambitions for inner peace, trapping you in a cycle of reactivity. But when discipline becomes a deeply ingrained habit, fueled by an undeniable purpose and an unshakable belief in your capacity to heal, it transforms into an almost effortless commitment, a powerful current carrying you steadily towards your desired state of emotional equilibrium and enduring strength. It is the silent, often unseen force that converts the invisible power of your belief into visible, tangible calm. From this bedrock of discipline emerges resolute action in the face of emotional adversity. Belief without action is merely philosophy. Clarity without action is idle thought. Purpose without action is a tragic waste of potential. It is in the realm of consistent, persistent action that the rubber meets the road, where the internal world of intentional emotional resilience begins to imprint itself upon your external reality. The average individual waits for emotional wounds to magically heal, for circumstances to perfectly align, for a guarantee of a pain-free existence before taking a step towards recovery. The high-achieving, resilient individual understands that action, even imperfect action, is the catalyst that creates momentum, reveals new coping mechanisms, and provides invaluable feedback. They embrace the messy reality of processing, of seeking help, of setting boundaries, knowing that every effort, successful or not, refines their approach and strengthens their emotional core. Consider the journey of Malala Yousafzai, who, after being shot by the Taliban for advocating for girls' education, faced not only profound physical trauma, but also the immense emotional burden of living with constant threats and displacement. Her actions, fueled by an unwavering belief in education's power and a definite purpose to empower girls globally, were relentless. She didn't wait for her recovery to be complete. She spoke, she wrote, she advocated, even while still undergoing surgeries and rehabilitation. Her persistence wasn't merely stubbornness. It was intelligent action, guided by an overarching belief in her mission. If she had succumbed to the fear of her attackers, if she had stopped advocating after her near-fatal injury, millions of girls might still be denied an education, and her voice would have been silenced. Your actions, when hesitant or sporadic in the face of emotional pain, reflect a lack of full conviction in your intentional belief in your own capacity for resilience. They signal to your subconscious and to the world that you are not fully committed, that your desire for peace is fleeting. This half-hearted effort yields half-hearted results. But when your actions are congruent with your burning belief in your capacity to overcome, when every step, whether it's reaching out for support, practicing mindfulness, or pursuing a creative outlet, is taken with definite purpose and unwavering discipline, you create an unstoppable momentum of healing. You become an irresistible force, drawing solutions, support, and inner peace to you with magnetic precision. Every action, no matter how small, becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of your desired emotional reality, bringing your vision of strength and peace closer to vibrant life. As you embark on this path of resolute action, building your inner fortitude, you will encounter the inevitable currents of life that demand adaptability. The storms of life are rarely predictable. They shift in intensity, present new challenges, and sometimes reemerge when you least expect them. The average individual is often rigid, resistant to changing their coping strategies, and easily derailed by new forms of adversity. The emotionally resilient individual, however, understands that true strength lies not in unyielding rigidity, but in flexible resilience. They hold their vision of inner peace and strength with unwavering conviction, but remain agile in their methods of coping, their self-care routines, and their approach to problem solving. They are like a mighty oak, bending with the wind rather than breaking, finding new ways to draw strength from the earth. This adaptability is not a compromise of your core purpose of thriving. It is an intelligent application of that purpose in an ever-changing landscape of life's challenges. Think of Bethany Hamilton, the surfer who lost her arm in a shark attack. Her dream was to be a professional surfer, and suddenly the very mechanism she used for her passion was gone. This was an unprecedented, devastating blow. Yet, her core belief in her ability to surf and her purpose to continue her passion and inspire others allowed her to adapt her entire technique. She didn't rigidly stick to her old way of paddling or balancing. She learned to surf with one arm, redesigning her approach, and ultimately returned to competitive surfing, disrupting all expectations. Her journey was not a straight line, but a series of courageous adaptations and reinventions, each fueled by a persistent, adaptable belief in her underlying spirit. If she had been rigid, unable to adapt her technique or her mindset, her surfing career would have ended that day. Your emotional adaptability, when weak, leaves you vulnerable to being swept away by unexpected waves of adversity. It traps you in outdated coping mechanisms, preventing you from discovering new ways to find peace and move forward. But when you cultivate adaptable resilience, holding your vision of inner strength firmly while remaining flexible in your approach to life's curveballs, you transform crises into opportunities for profound personal evolution. You become a master of emotional navigation, not merely surviving change, but thriving within it, always moving closer to your emotional apex. This adaptability, born from purposeful action and intentional belief, thrives on the continuous pursuit of learning from adversity. The landscape of human experience is an ever-evolving classroom, and the emotionally resilient individual is its most dedicated student. They understand that suffering is inevitable, but wisdom is a choice. They are not content with merely getting through a hard time. They possess an insatiable curiosity, a hunger for new insights into their own emotional architecture, and a commitment to perpetual self-awareness and growth. They see every challenging experience, every wound, every difficult emotion as an opportunity to learn, to refine their understanding of themselves and the world, and to sharpen their coping skills. The average individual often ceases to learn once the immediate pain subsides, or only seeks knowledge that confirms their existing biases, limiting their perspective and hindering their capacity for deeper resilience. Consider the tireless dedication to learning demonstrated by someone who has overcome severe trauma, like a veteran with PTSD. Their purpose is clear: to heal, to live a full life. Their belief in their capacity to find peace is often a fragile flame they fiercely protect. But it is their relentless commitment to learning new therapeutic techniques, new mindfulness practices, new ways to process their experiences that makes long-term healing possible. They delve into books, engage with therapists, connect with support groups, not fearing the difficult emotions that arise, but eagerly seeking to understand and integrate them. Their learning isn't passive. It's an active, ongoing process driven by their grand purpose of reclamation and unwavering belief in their own potential for peace. If they had stopped learning after the initial trauma, if they had become complacent in their suffering, true healing might never have occurred. Your commitment to learning from emotional storms, when superficial or sporadic, leaves you unprepared for future challenges and unaware of deeper patterns within yourself. It binds you to outdated coping strategies, making you vulnerable to recurring pain. But when you embrace learning as a lifelong pursuit, fueled by your curiosity and your commitment to your purpose of emotional mastery, you become an internal powerhouse. You acquire new tools, discover new pathways to peace, and continuously expand your capacity for enduring strength, ensuring your trajectory remains perpetually upward. This commitment to learning, woven into the fabric of your adaptable, purposeful action, cultivates a profound sense of gratitude. In the face of adversity, gratitude is not merely a polite acknowledgement of blessings, it is a powerful emotional frequency that aligns you with abundance and amplifies your capacity to receive comfort, support, and lessons. The emotionally resilient individual understands that every challenge overcome, every lesson learned, every moment of stillness amidst the chaos is a gift. They find appreciation not only for the periods of ease and joy, but also for the struggles that forged their character, the setbacks that taught them resilience, and the people who supported them along the way. The average individual often focuses on what was lost, on what went wrong, on the perceived unfairness of life's storms, trapping themselves in a cycle of scarcity and resentment. This negative focus repels the very healing and opportunities for growth they seek. Think of Stephen Hawking, who battled a debilitating motor neuron disease that gradually stripped him of his physical abilities, leaving him able to communicate only through a cheek muscle. His life was defined by unimaginable physical limitation. Yet, he expressed profound gratitude for his intellectual capabilities, for the support of his family and colleagues, and for the opportunity to continue exploring the mysteries of the universe. His capacity for gratitude, even as his body failed, was a testament to the power of the human spirit to find meaning and purpose beyond physical confines. He didn't deny his illness. He found strength and gratitude for what remained, for the incredible power of his mind. If he had succumbed to bitterness and self-pity, his groundbreaking scientific contributions might never have been made. Your gratitude, when absent or shallow in the face of hardship, creates a void that prevents true peace and profound healing. It fosters a victim mentality, blaming external circumstances for internal suffering. But when you cultivate a deep, sincere gratitude for every aspect of your journey, the triumphs, the trials, the support received, the lessons learned, you open yourself to a richer, more abundant experience of life, even amidst its storms. You attract more of what you appreciate, creating a virtuous cycle of receiving and growing, accelerating your trajectory towards enduring emotional resilience. And as you embody this profound gratitude, you naturally step into true leadership in the face of adversity. Leadership in this context is not about position or title. It is about influence, about inspiring others through your example, about demonstrating the power of what is possible when intentional belief, definite purpose, unwavering discipline, resolute action, adaptable resilience, continuous learning, and profound gratitude are woven into the very fabric of your being. The emotionally resilient individual doesn't just weather their own storms, they become a beacon for others navigating their own darkness. They understand that their strength is amplified when they empower those around them, when they share their coping strategies, and when they light the path for others to follow, creating a ripple effect of hope and fortitude. The average individual often retreats in times of personal crisis, isolating themselves or seeking only to be taken care of. This self-focus, while sometimes necessary, limits their capacity to transform their pain into a source of broader inspiration and collective healing. Consider Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison, enduring unimaginable injustices and separation from his family and the world he fought to change. Yet he emerged not with bitterness or desire for vengeance, but with an unwavering commitment to reconciliation and the building of a democratic South Africa. His leadership wasn't about demanding power, it was about inspiring forgiveness, about demonstrating the transformative power of endurance, and about uniting a nation through his personal example of unwavering hope and dignity. He led not by command alone, but by embodying the very principles of resilience and justice he sought to instill. His ultimate triumph wasn't just his release. It was the peaceful transition of a nation from apartheid to democracy. If he had only sought personal freedom, if he had lacked the vision to uplift his entire people through his example of resilience, his impact would have been a fraction of what it became. Your leadership, when selfish or self-pitying in the face of personal storms, repels the very support, empathy, and collective strength that could help you and those around you. It creates isolation and limits your reach. But when you lead with integrity, with vulnerability, with empathy, and with a genuine desire to uplift others through your own journey of resilience, you become a magnet for connection, for collective healing, and for a shared sense of enduring strength. You build a formidable force, multiplying your impact and accelerating your journey to heights you could never reach alone, becoming a living testament to the unbreakable human spirit. This is the continuous loop, the spiraling ascent of the emotionally resilient individual. It begins with the audacious choice to believe not passively, but intentionally, profoundly in your capacity to endure and thrive amidst life's challenges. From that belief, a clear and undeniable purpose emerges, even within suffering. That purpose fuels the unwavering discipline to take consistent, resolute action towards healing and growth. These actions, refined by adaptability to shifting circumstances and enriched by continuous learning from every experience, are sustained by profound gratitude for every lesson and amplified through authentic leadership that empowers those around you. This is not a linear path. It is a dynamic, interconnected ecosystem where each element strengthens and amplifies the others, propelling you forward with irresistible force. You don't simply arrive at the apex of emotional resilience, you become the apex. You don't just survive storms, you become the one who navigates them with quiet power, transforming adversity into your greatest teacher. The journey from emotional vulnerability to unbreakable fortitude is not a destination. It is a continuous becoming, a relentless pursuit of your highest self, a testament to the limitless power of a mind unleashed by intentional belief and cultivated through courageous resilience. So, where do you stand? Are you content to merely drift on the surface of calm waters, terrified of the slightest ripple? Or are you ready to become the master of your own vessel, capable of navigating any storm life throws your way? Are you willing to trade the fleeting comfort of avoidance for the profound satisfaction of relentless inner strength? The blueprint has been laid bare. The examples of profound resilience echo through history. The power lies not in external circumstances, but within the unplumbed depths of your own conviction. The choice is yours, as it has always been. Will you be swept along by the currents of adversity, a passive victim in your own story? Or will you seize the helm, charting a course forged by your deepest beliefs, disciplined by your highest purpose, and propelled by an unstoppable will to endure, to adapt, and to thrive? The apex of emotional resilience awaits. It calls to those who dare to believe beyond their pain, to act beyond their fear, and to lead beyond themselves. Rise, believe, endure, adapt, transform. Your inner strength is not waiting to be discovered. It is waiting to be forged. This is your moment. Seize it.